What if I told you that most of your financial frustration stems from misplaced priorities? See, the truth is, too many of us are chasing profits before purpose. I'll say it again. Too many of us are chasing profits before purpose. We're grinding for wealth instead of seeking wisdom. And so today we are breaking down what it means to align your life and your money with kingdom priorities. So get your notebooks, get your pens, get your pens or whatever your favorite writing utensil is, get your favorite healthy beverage, get your Bibles, of course, because we are going to have a realignment that is going to shake up our mindset and our bank accounts just after this intro. Hey there, wealth saving and investing. And I'm 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, saying that finances is not a set forgiveness. Hey there, welcome to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. I am Lexi Johnson, your facilitator for this podcast. Today, our podcast is entitled Kingdom First, Finances Next. Kingdom First, Finances Next. Now, I know you might say, well, Lexi, that's just a no-brainer, right? But the truth is, we may say that with our mouths, but do we actually behave like that is a no-brainer, right? So come on in the room. And as you're coming in, let me know who you are, where you are watching from. I always like to acknowledge those who have taken the time, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching the replay. We love to acknowledge those who have taken the time to join us today. And also, if you don't mind, share this broadcast or tag some people in it. And let's get started, okay? All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about is misaligned priorities, right? Misaligned priorities and how they lead to financial chaos. So if you are experiencing some financial chaos right now, and listen, the majority of us do at some point or another. And most of the time, that's because of our own doing, right? Our priorities get out of whack. So many kingdom citizens unknowingly prioritize worldly financial goals over kingdom principles. And why does this happen? Well, this happens because this is the way that we have been conditioned. Whether it's in our schools, whether even in our churches, or whether even in our homes, we are not conditioned to talk about or to try to figure out at an early age what our purpose is. No, instead, it's what kind of work do you want to do when you get older? What do you want? What do you want to be when you get older? Instead of who do you want to be, right? And so asking that question sends us on this trajectory of, okay, well, maybe I'm going to do this because it brings in, this type of money. And people actually are having those discussions, right? Parents might say to their children, the child might say, oh, I want to be an artist, right? And the parent may respond and say, honey, that's not going to pay the bills, right? Because I really do believe that when we are young children, very young children, that we really have a grasp on who we are. And it just gets stomped out of us the older we get, right? And then as we matriculate into adulthood, then you've got life coming at you, you've got bills coming at you, you got all of these things, right? But just imagine if we could have started the way we should have started, right? With who is it exactly that God wants us to be? What is the purpose? What is our purpose collectively and individually, right? And then we can figure out ways, because all of the various different jobs and things like that, those are all just different vehicles. See, so it really doesn't matter what you do. Um, let me clarify what I'm saying. You should feel called to it. Okay, so in that sense, yes, it does matter. But what I'm saying is, what do you want to be when you grow up? Is not the most important question. Okay, it's first figuring out why you're here, because see, then you can figure out everything else around it. Anyway, don't get me on that discussion, right? Talking about purpose and all of those things, as I will, that's a whole nother rabbit trail that I'm not going to go down. But this is how we end up prioritizing worldly financial goals over kingdom principles. We're taught, like, oh, you got to finish school, get the degree, right? Get a good paying job, high paying job, so you can pay the bills, right? And that's just not in alignment with kingdom. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying don't pay bills. I'm not saying that at all, right? We got to pay the bills. But the way things are prioritized is very different in the kingdom. So, what happens when you have misplaced priorities? Well, it can result in burnout, it can result in frustration, and it can result in lack. Now, this is in any area of your life and your financial life as well. Because, see, oftentimes we like to put our financial life off on some island, but it's not, okay? Any resource that God gives us, money is included in that. And so, if our priorities are not in alignment, especially as kingdom citizens, I keep saying this lately here as I get on, I'm not talking to unbelievers, people who do not believe. They operate by the world's laws, or whoever's laws they operate by. Okay. But for kingdom believers, if we are not operating like kingdom believers, then yes, we are going to experience burnout. We are going to experience frustration. We are going to experience lack. Have you ever participated in something and it was just so against who you are? It was a distraction, maybe. It was, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? It could be good things, but they resulted in burnout. You're frustrated, right? And you're in lack. Why? Because you are out of alignment. So, Matthew chapter 6, verse 33 says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." So, it starts out by saying, "But seek first," okay? Not after. And truth be told, the way we live our lives in this world is we are looking for all the things first. Then we want to, talk about seeking, God and seeking kingdom and all of that stuff. And it doesn't work that way for kingdom citizens. In the kingdom is first, finances after that. Okay. So anytime you see me on here talking about money, whether it is this podcast, whether it is some other type of um, thing that I'm doing, know that kingdom is always first, then finances. Okay. That is the order. Kingdom is always first, then finances. So here's a question for you. Are your financial goals a reflection of the Father's will or your own ambition? And don't be so quick to answer the question, right? And if there are any brave souls, you can certainly put your answer in the comments. But really think about that. The financial goals that you have, and hopefully you have them, right? Because that's another issue, is that most people don't even have financial goals, specific financial goals, right? But are your financial goals a reflection of the Father's will for your life? Or are they a reflection of your own ambition? If many of us are honest, right? we can say that, mm, and it's because of our conditioning, right? A lot of times the goals that we come up with initially are about our own ambition. And so, again, as kingdom citizens, it's not until we make that shift and our financial goals now are a reflection of the Father's will that we begin to see some relief in that area. Okay. Now, what are kingdom priorities in finances? Let's talk about that. Because you're like, okay, and you're telling me I need to have kingdom priorities over worldly priorities or God's will over my own ambition. What does that mean? Well, kingdom priorities mean aligning your goals with God's will for your life. Now, here's the kicker. If you do not know what God's will for your life is, then your priorities are going to be misaligned already. I'm going to say that again. If you don't know what the Father's will is for your life, then your priorities are going to be misaligned. Okay? You can't prioritize unless you know exactly why you're here, exactly what it is, what your mission is, what your purpose is. Okay? So, if you don't know that, then that is the first thing that you want to be praying to God about. You want to be asking God, hey, reveal to me what my purpose is. Reveal to me what my mission is. Why am I here? Because you cannot have your finances aligned according to kingdom without knowing that. Okay. Now, it's not about rejecting wealth. We don't reject wealth, right? But it's about using wealth to advance the kingdom. So again, you have to ask yourself, all right, the way that I am managing my finances right now, right? Right now and over the past however long you've been managing finances. Can I honestly say that I have been using my wealth to advance the kingdom? And don't get tripped up by the word wealth, because I'm not talking about, oh, $1 million, or I'm not talking about that. Everybody has a measure, okay? Whatever that measure is, be it little, be it much, it is your wealth right now, right? And so are you using it to advance the kingdom? That is what we're talking about when we're talking about kingdom priorities, kingdom first, right? Colossians 3, chapter 2 says, set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. Okay. And so it's not that earthly things don't matter. It's not that, you can't have the nice car or the nice house or the nice whatever. You can have those things. You can have those things. But what priority do they have in your life? Okay. What priority do they have in your life? Chasing wealth for its own sake is idolatry in disguise. Now, listen, I know we don't like to hear that at all, right? We as kingdom believers don't like to hear that we are in idolatry. Oh, how could that be? I am a believer in the Most High Yah, right? How can it be that I am in idolatry? Your money should be a servant of the kingdom and not the other way around. And there's too many of us where in our lives it's the flip, right? The money dictates everything, and everything else in your life bows down to it. Now, I'm not saying you've got a shrine built to money or you're kneeling to money every day. It doesn't have to be that overt. Okay. All I'm saying is, if in any way, if in any way money is above the kingdom, it is idolatry. Okay. Money is a tool. Money is to be used to serve the kingdom. All right. So You all know me. I love to give um, practical tips, practical steps, so that we're just not talking in theoretics over here, right? Things I want to give you that you can go and you can do right away, things that you can, put into action right away, right? So, action step number one: draft a kingdom financial mission statement. Okay. How do you do that? Well, one, ask yourself, how does your financial life reflect God's purpose? Okay. So let whatever come to your mind come to your mind. Write that all out, right? As you answer that question, how does my financial life reflect his purpose? If your financial life is not reflecting his purpose right now, how do you want it to reflect his purpose? Okay. You should include some clear goals for giving, for saving, for investing, and your desire. Okay. The outcome, the reason why you're doing all of those things is for kingdom impact. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay. So your financial mission statement should include all of those things. It should include how your financial life reflects God's purpose. Okay. It should include goals for giving, for saving, for investing, right? And the kingdom impact that you want to make. All right. So that's action step number one. All right. Number two, and you can do both of these, you can do none of these. I'm going to have some more practical application things to give you here in a moment. If you can just do one of these things, right, it would be great. You may not be able to get to all of this, this week, but if you can do one of these things, it would be great. All right. Action step number two is to conduct a priority audit. Now, what does that mean? You're going to review your calendar. You're going to review your bank statement. And if you have been listening to me for a long, long time, this tip that I'm giving you about reviewing your bank statements, you've heard me say before, right? Because when you pull your bank statements, and I usually say the last 3 months, right? Your most recent 3 months, and look at every transaction, it is going to tell you where your priorities are, like it or not. Okay. It's going to be in black and white. So your bank statements, and your credit card statements, okay? Because some people are like, okay, my bank statements, yeah, those credit card statements too, okay? Look at the transactions over the last month to 3 months, and it's going to tell you where your priorities lie. If you look at your calendar, okay, if you're like me, everything goes on my calendar. It's going to show you where your time and where your money is going. All right. So conduct the audit so that you can see it in black and white. And then if you need to make any adjustments, right? And we all probably have adjustments that we can make. All right. If you need to make adjustments, then make those adjustments. Realign your activities, realign your spending so that it reflects a kingdom first, right? A kingdom first approach, a kingdom first living. All right. Okay. So let's keep going. I want to give you a couple more activities that you can do. I hope these activities are helping you out and or telling good things to do. I hope that you, like I said, that you would at least do one of them. Okay. And I think it's important to do because honestly, it will really show you where you are. All right. So here's another one. Do a weekly priority check. What does that mean? Set aside 30 minutes each week to evaluate if your actions align with your kingdom financial mission. Okay, so once you created your kingdom financial mission statement, now each week you can set aside 20 to 30 minutes to evaluate your activities and evaluate your spending. Okay, so now this is taking both action steps I gave you, combining all of that and saying how you can use it, right, to check in with yourself regularly because we should. Because listen, all of us can get distracted. We all do at some point or another, right? We get distracted and our activities might swing another way for a moment, or our spending might swing another way for a moment. And that's why it is good to have these um, weekly checks. Okay. All right. So a weekly check. The other thing you can do is like a visual reminder. So you can create a board. Okay. Some might say like a vision board, so to speak. But this board will have some scriptures. It's going to have your financial goals, okay, that reflect kingdom priorities. And this board is not something that you need that you're going to set aside and just, put it down and never look at again. Or it's going to collect dust somewhere. No, this is something that should be posted in a place where you spend the majority of your time, right? If it's in your office, if it's in, or you might even have a couple of them, right? One might be in your office, another might be in the living room. I don't know, wherever makes sense for you, so that you're seeing it every day and you're reminded to make sure that your kingdom is first, finances next. Okay, so I hope that this has been very helpful for you today. I want to um, I want to share a couple things with you. Listen, if you're ready to refocus your finances on kingdom principles, then I want you to go in the description, in the show notes, well, not the comments, but in the description or in the show notes. Download the free Stop Begging God for Money guide and discover how to position yourself for financial freedom in God's way. Learn how what I'm talking about today, how to prioritize the kingdom first, finances next. This guide is going to show you step by step how to do that. Okay. And the link is in the description. It's bit.ly/stop begging guide. It will cost you nothing. And it is not a long read, right? 7 steps, short, things for those 7 steps. And it will be a really great start, right? For you getting on track. And don't just read through it. You know, they're called 7 steps for a reason, because you should be taking the steps. So read step 1. You might read them all to begin with, then come back to step 1, do step 1, right? Then move on to step 2, then move on to step 3, right? Actually do the work. All right. The next thing that I want to share with you is that if today's episode stirred something in you, then I want you to go and check out my 90-day financial group coaching program called Financial Rebellion. This is your opportunity to stop conforming to worldly and religious systems and to step into kingdom dominion. If that's what you desire in your life, then don't wait. Okay. We only have 15 slots. Program starts in January, but the registration doors are open now, and they will only be open until those 15 slots are taken. Okay. Once the 15 slots are taken, the doors are going to close. All right. So you can go again to my website, mm4h.life. There is also a link in the description. It will take you right over so that you can learn everything about the program. You can learn just everything. Okay. And if you have any questions about it, be sure to message me or comment here. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And then the final thing that I want to share with you is another free resource. We're doing a webinar on December 17th at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. Okay. The link to register is complimentary. Okay. But you do have to register. The link to register is in the description or in the show notes again. All right. So you got 2 complimentary resources there. All right. You may not be necessarily ready to purchase. Maybe you're new to me, you're not quite sure, you're just getting to know my content, and that is absolutely okay. Take advantage of the 2 resources. Actually, you have 3 free resources there, because there's also a link in the description for the Patreon. Now, the Patreon community is free or paid. Okay. You can join for free. You'll get the weekly Bible studies. You'll get the scripture of the week. That's about all you get. That's what you'll get. Okay. And really, honestly, that's a wealth of stuff right there. And then the various different paid levels. If you click on the Patreon link, it'll tell you what the differences are, what you get for those paid levels. And honestly, it's not much, right? Somewhere between $5 is the lowest, and then the top tier, I think, is $30 a month, 30 or $35 a month. So plenty of resources here for you. And I want to give my closing thought for our episode today. And again, if you have any questions or anything like that, make sure you put them in the chat. So, living with kingdom priorities isn't easy, right? But it is necessary. When you put Yah's will above your own, everything else will fall in place. This happens in every area of your life, including your financial life. Your financial life is not excluded from these rules, okay? It's not excluded from these promises. It's the same. So the question is, will you let the Almighty Yah reorder your priorities? Will you let him reorder your priorities? Or are you going to keep chasing what's temporary? I don't know about you, but I ain't trying to chase what's temporary, okay? The choice is yours, but the kingdom waits for no one. It waits for absolutely no one, right? This work is going to get done, whether we're in it or not. If we don't want to be used, there are other people who can be used for kingdom work. If we don't want to be the ones who are making kingdom impact, there are other people that can be used to make kingdom impact. There are other people who desire it, right? So kingdom is not going to wait for you. It's not going to wait for me, okay? But the choice is definitely yours, and I hope that you decide to join me in allowing God to reorder your financial priorities. All right. Well, that's all we've got. We'll see you in our next episode next Thursday. We were a little late today. Normally we come at 12:30 Eastern, but my day was not an ordinary day today. And that's all right. We will be back next Thursday, 12:30 Eastern. Until then, keep producing, keep multiplying, keep dominating. God bless.